Chapter 6. 1 month later, in December, Dr. Wilmore was jogging slowly on his sprig-tailed mare along the road by Fox Lydiot when he met George Cooks riding rapidly towards Norgrove Hall. The doctor's thin figure was enveloped in a black riding cloak from the heels of his heavy boots to the brims of his black cocked hat. Cooks reined up his horse and said briskly, "Your influence with that perverse minx at Lones Hill has not been worth a straw. She refuses even to see me. What do you say if I propose to carry her off and marry her without her guardian's permission?" The doctor replied sharply, "I say that you can't mean it, and heaven forbid that if I should consent to harm a hair on her head." "Nonsense, man, 'twould do her no harm. Women like a little rough wooing at heart. It would make her the wife of a gentleman." The doctor looked grave and said bluntly, "It would be a lawless deed. What if I should make your plans known? What hinders me?" "A certain transaction at the Fox Inn, in which you are more implicated than I am." Dr. Wilmore shook his head sadly. "Would that I had had no hand in the bad business with Henry Hardwick. That pious wish comes too late. Hardwick is dead and buried, but I want your help in carrying Phillis off. There are 50 guineas for you when I marry her and secure her fortune. All that you have to do is to bring her alone to some spot where my friends and I can carry her off." "How can I do this?" "That's your affair. You brought her to the Abbey ruins once to witness some of your hocus pocus. You can do so again." "Ay," said the doctor thoughtfully. "I might take her to the remoter part of the ruins, but only on the condition that you repay me the sum of £8 9 shillings and a groat." Cooks looked perplexed, and the old man explained, "Money's borrowed from me on the day of Bromsgrove Fair." Cooks laughed. "So you knew I and Hardwick played the highwaymen. Well, well, that much you shall have in advance." A few days after this meeting, in the week before Christmas, Phillis and her maid made their way from Lones Hill to the ancient Gate House for a secret appointment with Dr. Wilmore. Phillis believed that he was making another attempt to raise the spirit of Tom Spencer. Once again she was led into the doctor's sanctum, but when he saw that Phillis was seated, the doctor hurried away to the ruined refectory, the old common dining room of the Bawdsley monks. The roof of this spacious room had fallen in, and its broken walls were covered in ivy. Moonlight was streaming through its shattered windows, but a lantern was burning on a small table in the centre of the room, which also held a rusty sword and a heavy volume printed in Latin. As the doctor approached this table, a man stepped out into the moonlight to meet him. It was George Cooks. "All is well," said Dr. Wilmore. "Phillis Spencer is in my room, ready to come here." Cooks advanced. "I trust you because you cannot afford to deceive me. Here, take back your paltry loan." And he threw a handful of coins on the table. The doctor counted the money deliberately by the light of the candle. £8 9 shillings and a groat. "You have reckoned correctly. I will use no violence if she listens to reason," said Cooks. "But she does not. Bates and I can carry her across the fields to the turn for Birmingham, where I have a coach waiting. You have chosen a good, quiet spot. This is an evil business, but I will bring her here." Dr. Wilmore returned to his room, where he explained the delay to Phillis by the need to wait until the stars were favourable. He then told her, "The time has now come. Follow me to the place." "Is it not here?" asked the girl. rather uneasily. "Shall I not see him here?" "No, not here. This time our rites must be performed under the open sky. Follow me." Despite her misgivings, she followed the doctor, who led her to the ruins of the refectory. "Stand here," he told her, pointing to the place beside the table. "Do not pass beyond the circle, which I shall draw. You will soon see your lover appear." He described a circle around the table with the point of a rusty sword. He mumbled some passages from the book. Phillis Spencer's gaze was fixed on a dim figure moving in the shadow of the ivied wall towards the table. When it emerged into the full moonlight, she could not identify it, for its face was covered by the corner of its cloak. The figure came onto the circle, and as it flung back its cloak, Phillis at last saw the face. A cry of alarm and disappointment came from her, for it was the face of George Cooks, and not Tom Spencer.